It seems the noble courts are arriving to save the day sooner than expected, because the gorgeous brand new box set for the Flesh Eater courts that we saw previewed at the reveals just a couple of weeks ago are now going up for pre-order next weekend. This is a very quick turnaround indeed, but if you are a fan of those new models and the Flesh Eater courts army, as I am, it's very good news. As you can see on your screen now, the army set, which contains not only the army book, tokens and cards, but also a very healthy 25 brand new models made up of a Gore Warden, a Vargulf Courtier, 3 Morbeg Knights and 20 Crypt Guard, is going to be available, as I said, for pre-order from next weekend. So I think this is a really brilliant set. As I said in the video where we talked about it, I think it's fantastic. I really like the new models and just going to be really fun to build and put together and play. We don't really know what the points are going to be like because this isn't just new updated models. A lot of this stuff is wholly brand new units completely, so we don't even really have like a base estimate to go from. But I'm going to say it's probably going to get us a solid 500 to 700-ish points of models. That's what they tend to kind to aim for, so I imagine that is what we are going to see from this set, and from just very roughly eyeballing everything in there, I could very easily see it being anything from 500 to 700 or so points. I'm sure we will find out more over the next couple of days in terms of actual points cost and probably price for this box, but for now, let's take a look at some of the stuff we do know, and that is they have shown us a few of the rules on Friday. They gave us our first hint, our first tease at what we can expect from this new battle tome. The Flesh Eater courts have a battle trait of Noble Deeds, which is very fitting for their heroic chivalrous courts. And what this does is that whenever a hero casts a spell or a prayer, you get a Noble Deed point, and you also get one for every wound or mortal wound that a hero does to an enemy unit in combat. And these can all stack up to a maximum of 6, so each hero in your army can have a maximum of 6 Noble Deed points on them at any one time, and then you can use or spend these points to bring various buffs to your army. The first way is in the returning favourite of our current army rule, Feeding Frenzy. Now this has had a fairly hefty change from the current book. It is now a 12-inch aura, and in that aura, friendly units which are in range of a hero with 6 Noble Deed points get +1 attacks on their melee weapons, which, as you can imagine, is really powerful if you have a few units bunched up around a hero that's got 6 Noble Deed points, and it really will bring a lot of extra melee punch to your armies. The current version of Feeding Frenzy allows you to choose a unit and basically attack again immediately after they've fought. So yes, in some ways this new version is a nerf. There are a few things that have got worse about it. You have to build up those 6 Noble Deed points, you do have to be within that 12-inch aura from your hero, and you do only get +1 attack rather than a whole round of extra fighting. But on the flip side, it doesn't cost you a command point to use anymore, which is nice. It's no longer limited to being on 1 unit. You can very easily get a good 2 or even 3 units with that +1 attack buff thanks to the 12-inch aura. And then also, for me anyway, the really important part of this is that it's much easier to balance. In my opinion, +1 attack is so much easier to balance, points-wise, rules-wise, damage-wise, everything like that. You know, fighting twice on a load of 2 damage crypt horror attacks would mean you're getting 8 2 damage attacks each rather than 4, whilst the +1 attack just brings them to 5 2 damage attacks rather than 4. So it is less, but it means when GW are deciding points costs and their other rules, they don't have to think, am I pointing this for having 4 attack space, or am I pointing it for having the potential of 8 if you use Feeding Frenzy on it. It's just, for me, a much smoother, easier system, I think. It rewards you as well, which I really like, for acting heroically with your heroes, which very much fits the fluffy theme of the army. So all in all, I think this is a very welcome change, one that a lot of people may think initially is a bit of a nerf, yes, But when you get it rolling, when you've got those noble deed points set up and you've got a few things around your hero, this will probably net you just as much extra damage as the double attack does. It's just going to do it in a slightly different way, which I think is fluffier, more fun, and for GW's point of things, probably easier to balance. Alternatively, you can use your noble deed points to reinforce your loyal footmen. Muster Guard allows you at the end of your movement phase to spend points to return one slain serf, so that's going to be your ghouls or your crypt guard for one noble deed point, or spending 2 points would allow you to return bigger things like your knights, so this is going to be your Morbeg knights, your flayers, and your horrors. So you can potentially return 6 small models or 3 bigger ones in each of your movement phases, and that's really, really strong. It means that with a good 3 or 4 heroes in your army, you can, by sort of turn 3 or 4, be getting back significant chunks of models each turn, and really making it difficult for your opponent to grind you down, but also making it much easier for you to claim those objectives and score victory points as the game gets further and further along. The article also mentions that abhorrents can return entire units and entire units of knights, so their ability to once per game bring in a whole new unit of ghouls or flayers, for example, sounds like it is set to remain in some way. And again, that is a huge force multiplier. It will really allow you to control the flow of the battle, to get units set up where your opponent least expects them, and also as the battle is raging on and forces are dying on both sides, for you to get that unit of reinforcements to help kill a key enemy unit or just go after an objective that your opponent thought no one was going to be able to get to. So it's a really powerful ability, and I think alongside the noble deed ability to return slain serfs and knights, allows the Flesh Eater Courts to be a very grindy, very resilient army that plays very, very well even into the end game. The final thing they show off in the article is 2 of the Delusions. There are apparently 5 to choose from, and they are chosen in the first battle round just before the first turn. So you really can benefit from seeing what you are up against, what kind of battle plan your opponent may be shooting towards, and just what to expect in the battle. You can really customize and choose the right ability for the situation that you kind of expect yourself to be in. So it's really flexible and a really powerful ability to have, not even counting what the abilities give you, just being able to choose the right one right before the battle begins gives you so much freedom and flexibility in choosing the exact one you need. The 2 that they show off, however, are Crusading Army, which gives you a very nice +1 to charge and run rolls for your units, which is a brilliantly helpful little buff. It's nothing super exciting, but if you're up against an enemy you want to get close to very, very quickly, this will definitely help you to do that. And the other one they show is Defenders of the Realm. This is great if you are going for that more objective playstyle. It grants you +1 to your save rolls whilst you are contesting an objective. So whilst the Flesh Eater Court saves typically aren't great, it's still very, very helpful. Moving from a 6-up save to a 5-up save will mean you at least get some kind of save against -1 rend weapons, and dropping things like your Ghoul Kings from a 4-up save to a 3-up is going to really, really help them to survive as you fight your opponent over key objectives as the game goes on. So in general, I just think both of those are quite decent. They're nothing super flashy, but as I said, I think the fact that you can choose them just before the game begins and allow you to be so much more reactive when you do pick them is such a huge bonus to your army, and picking the right delusion for the right game situation is going to be a key factor in your victory. So I think whilst other armies arguably have stronger sort of like sub-faction rules, the fact that you get that customization and flexibility in when you choose yours does give you a huge advantage over them, even if the actual rules themselves maybe aren't quite as powerful as what some other armies get. In terms of what we may see in the others, the ones that we know from the Battle Tome so far, there are 6. I expect to see returning the Royal Hunt, a Matter of Honor, and the Grand Tournament. I think maybe Feast Day will be the one we lose because that's to do with the the feast ability, which is changing in terms of being part of the noble deed section of rules. So I could imagine that one going, but I do think those other ones will maybe be the other 3 of the 5 that we get to choose from. How they change in terms of what they do in this new book, I mean, I guess we just don't really know. Whether they stay similar to how they are now in terms of giving bonuses against monsters, bonuses against enemy heroes, or something that buffs like our surf units but not our heroes, we will have to just wait and see. But as I said, I think none of them will be super impactful in and of themselves, but being able to choose the one you need for the right situation at the start of the game is going to make them incredibly useful to have and really help you win your games. So that is it for now for the Flesh Eater course. I'm sure we will see a lot more new rules and previews and abilities over the coming days before the pre-order goes live. But, as always, what do you make of the rules we've seen so far? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and as always, thank you very much for watching. Please do like and subscribe for more Warhammer content from me, but until next time, I'll catch you later, guys.